Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do a disassembly of this prototype. So this is the MASH design. This is the CMB version of the MASH. A couple things I want to do is I want to swap the clip. We are going to try to get a different clip on here. If you look at our prototypes from, say, Kubi, looks like they're using the same clip, but I haven't noticed. Let me just... Yeah, see, for me... Oh, no, this is the CMB one. Hold on a second. So if you look at the wire clip here from Best Tech on this one, you see how it ramps down and then comes up just a little bit at the end? To me, it makes it so that in your pocket or in your hand, you're not feeling that clip at all. It just disappears, melts into your palm. With this clip, I find it bothers me. When I'm holding the knife like this, I feel that raised up area right here. Some people like the clip to be like this. I prefer it to be like that other one that's kind of low and stays low like that. So it is a preference thing, but just something to know. So I want to swap that out if I can. I might just leave it. And then I want to take it apart. I did have a little bit of lock stick going on, but it's kind of intermittent. And I think it's just oil in there because OEMs tend to oil stuff. And then I was going to see if maybe I can pop some skips in. The D10 on this one is perfect, but you know how it goes. You got to mess with your stuff. So let me grab some drivers, see what we need here. I'm going to grab a T8, and that should take care of this, but it might be a T10. Let me just check my T10 right here. Nope. Looks like it's a T8. Just has a little bit of wiggle. Yep, T8. Came right out. There you go. D-shaped pivot. You're going to have a T8 right here as well. And then this clip screw down here is a T6, which it should not be. That's something we would be updating. Now, keep in mind, guys, we have time, okay? So this is T6. Yeah. We have just put into production the less expensive version of this. I don't want to say budget because I don't think it's budget. This is the MASH prototype from Kubi. You can see some differences. But we put into production this version. This is going to have 14C28N. We are changing this hardware and everything to satin. So it's all going to be satin like this guy because I think that looks a little nicer than this Bead Blast hardware. But this one has a steel lock bar. This one has a titanium lock bar with steel insert. Anyway, we have just put this into production. They're going to be like 120 bucks. It's a Blue Creek Knives exclusive. So this one we have a little bit of time with. This is a more premium build, so it's a more expensive knife. It would be, around that $300 mark. When we do the either pre-order, it might be like a short pre-order, or we do the pre-order. So we have a little bit of time, right? But so we can kind of mess around with changing stuff if we want. So you can see here, I'm having a little bit of struggle. I probably just have to put a little pressure down like this. Wiggle that off. There we go. So looks like we're working with 5mm bearings, which is pretty standard. If you're getting a knife made overseas, you get these bearings usually. And I'll probably swap those out for skips. Here's your back spacer. Very simple slab, which is pretty cool. We'll take a look inside. I'm going to grab a cloth and some alcohol. And I can tell there's a lot of oil in there. So that's the first thing I want to do is see if I can pop this pivot out. See how tight that is? It's interesting to me. And then I want to see, this feels loose. See that? See how that's loose? That's never a good sign for me. It does look like the D shape is here. So let's figure this out before I do anything drastic. So it just pops through, honestly. And then on this side, you got to make sure that D shape is down, so that it can seat in there like, oh, sorry, it comes in from this side, and it seats in like that, right? So you want to make sure this screw is tight because you can end up having issues putting it back together, taking it apart if this loosens, right? So I'm going to probably glue that, but what I want to make sure is when it's tight, it's in place and it's tight, is that the position we want it in, basically? And it looks pretty good. It looks a little bit off, but if it was tilted this way, let me just do this. I just really want to be safe with this. Not wanting to just go in. See how hard that is? Got it in. So that's with it tight. But is that, see now it's tilted off. So there it is, and then you're gonna actually change the angle to that, which makes this off as well. So what you really need is it to be at this point, it needs to be straight. You need to turn this a little bit. So you can't quite tighten this all the way is essentially what I'm learning here. So I'm going to see what happens. Because I don't think I can just I just don't know if that's a good idea. So we can easily loosen that, which again is not great. Something to note with them. Then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. So it should go on this side. And then we want this to be, when this is facing down, we want it like that, I think. If that makes sense. There's that. Yeah, we want it more like that. This, right? So that when this goes through, it's like that. Yeah, so I'm going to let it sit like this. Hopefully that'll glue it into that kind of position there while we chill. Looks pretty clean in there. Probably just take a Q-tip. Because I don't want to mess with the super glue, right? Just do this, just clean in there a little bit. There we go. All right, so let's get everything else alcoholed up. There's your detent hole, which looks good. So far, I'm digging their detents nice and snappy. At least on like 3 of the 4 are good. You have steel washers, obviously. And then over here, you have this liner that's seated into, can I take it out? I don't see anything else holding it in, so it should come out. It's in there nice and tight. Now, what I prefer is a knife where the liner is really just this bar right here, or a smaller piece, but just how they did it, which it's fine. Ugh. It's coming out. It's just taking its time. I don't really need to take it out, though, so I'm not. I'm just going to leave it in. But here you can see it, and you could get to the lock bar insert by taking it out, and then you could unscrew that, and then you could replace this if you wanted to. So get some more alcohol on here. What I'm trying to be cognizant of is any alcohol or any oil up on this insert, because I was getting that stick, and it must be coming from oil in that area. And then also oil right here on the tang of the blade. You can see the stop pin right there is internally mounted. It does look like it's shifted a little bit to this side, but that could just be my eye there. So what I'm going to do, see if I can get these washers. Yep, pop that out. Flip that over. Pop it back in. Pop that out. Flip that over. Clean that out because I see some gunk in there. And pop that in because I'm going to put skiffs in. I want them running on their own track for two reasons. One, if I ever want to swap bearings back, I can flip them back over and have the normal track. And two, I want the skiffs to wear their own track in. So we should just need regular 5mm. I just bought a good number of them. Again, I stock up on them regularly. I mean, if you can't tell, I got an ass ton of bearings. It's just kind of how I roll. Drop those like it's hot. Put these in here just because they're from a prototype. Sometimes I like to mark those. Check out my new tactile pen. Seasonal release. And I'll put MASH CMB. Keep track of that somewhere. I don't know. Liking that pen. All right, so keep this kind of tightened away here. Get this out, and here is our backspacer. We just pop that back on like so. And then we need to figure out the way we're going to do this. First, clean out this area. That's okay. That's just from the pivot. Clean this. All right, so we want to take our pivot, which hopefully has cured in place. And we might mess up the centering with this because now this isn't going to be as tight. But my guess is it's going to end up shifting again anyway, and it's not going to matter. So we need to turn it a little bit. That's one of the problems here is this pivot does not want to turn on its own. There we go. And that's pretty close, but you can see it's sitting proud, and I don't like that at all. But let me double check the other one I had to make sure it doesn't do that as well, and it does. It sits a little bit proud of the scale, so we might want to look at that in production to get them to seat that lower. Now, this still looks way, looks like it's sticking out way more than the other one there, but we'll see how we go here as we get it set up. So take some lubage. Rub it in. Flip it over. Rub it in. Pretty sure I got the right size. Yep. Drop this like it's hot. You obviously have the internal stop pin track. Flip that. Okay. Drop that in. You do not have a detent ramp. We never even think about putting detent ramps in because I really don't think they're necessary unless you have a specific type of knife where you need it. Let me just focus here while I try to get this one in because this has to be lined up like that. And then it should pop in. Looks like that's moving, but it's okay. So what I'm going to start with is this body screw about halfway up, just because that's kind of, if you have a central point, that's kind of how I like to roll. And then we have the clip screw, which I don't think the clip screw does much, to be honest, because I just pushed it all the way in. It's a very awkward clip screw. Check this side. Yep. Okay. Moment of truth is to tighten this down. gently. Detent's still solid. Centering looks pretty damn good. Now that doesn't mean anything. We haven't checked play or anything, but let me just... That feels good. A little bit of play, but not much. Action's good. So let me tighten that down. Centering's good. Fires. Still a little bit. No play. Drop. Shake. Centered. Okay, so we're good. And I got this lined up pretty good. It's not great. And it does stick up a little bit. But again, if you look at this guy, which is the other one, it does the same thing. I don't know if it's quite as high. Yeah, it's definitely not as high, but that difference might just be me not tightening this. I could probably crank on this, and it's going to end up fucking with that. I don't know yet, but everything else looks good. Don't know if that's... No, it's definitely no play. Oh, shit. It's almost like no matter how much I tighten it, it still wants to just drop. So I don't know if that's because of this pivot situation here. I can keep going. Like, I can just keep tightening. Now there's no play at all. I'm going to try to come out and come back in. That's what she said. Clean this off. The reason I always test this stuff is because once I go in there with the super glue, I can't easily adjust, and I don't like messing with that. So I kind of try to get it right the first time. So I just do test runs with the pivot. Just get all the black shit out of there if I'm going to put the super glue in. So let's see. Whoops. Yeah, that's tight. A little too tight, I would say. Backed off a touch. Still no play. Yeah, so I think cleaning the pivot out helped there. It just got a bunch of gunk out that was probably keeping it from tightening down. Got a little bit of stick. I think that's just going to be a thing. It's going to wear in. Because every time I cleaned the tang with alcohol, that stick went away. Yep, it goes away, and then it kind of creeps back. And I think it's just going to wear in. All right. So I just got to feel that out. How tight is that? Tighten it like that. A little bit of play, but not really. Okay, I think I got this. Clean this one more time. Get some alcohol there. Oops. All right, here we go. centered, no play, nail, drop. And that is without the skips breaking in. I mean, tighten that down. Tighten that down. Again, that D shape. Let's check out the logo in here. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's got the same sort of angle on it. It's maybe a little more canted. I don't know if maybe when the knife is open at a certain angle, I don't know. So, and then if you look at the Kubi ones, they did a milled, like a CNC milled one. I think this is going to look better when that and this and everything is satin. I think it'll look good. This clip looks good on here in the satin because it matches the blade and it'll match everything at that point. Got skiffs in here too. So, all right, there you go. That is the CMB MASH prototype, the more higher end version. Keep your eyes out for it. 2023. We'll probably be doing the pre-order on this. If we can afford to just do the run or do the deposit and then do a short pre-order kind of thing, that's what our goal is for 2023, is to do away with the full-on pre-orders. Yeah, look, you can see there's a little bit of oil on there again. I don't know where it's coming from because I cleaned everything. But the one thing I couldn't do was get to that liner. So it could just be something's back there and it's kind of making its way. You gotta love that sound. You hear that click when it... Listen to this. Can't even get it. That's like heaven to me, guys. It's like the greatest sound in the world to me is a poppy detent like that. So it really makes me want to work with CMB. Just trying to wear that lock stick out or whatever it is. It's not there anymore, but just comes back for a second and then I got to do this again. It's just kind of a pain, but eventually it'll all be gone. It just takes time and patience. So anyway, you guys have been patient enough with me. Let me know what you think down in the comments about the MASH. It's a very interesting topic. I haven't seen a lot of this kind of stuff, you know, in the community where, you know, we have prototypes from two brands or two companies. We have different sort of price points, but the same design. We have one in production already. We're talking about doing a run of these, a pre-order for these. Also, let me know what you guys think of the jimping. If we did Vox style jimping further up here, or maybe extended this, or got rid of this and then just did this. What would your thoughts be on that? I really like that style of jimping because when I use the knife, I choke up to here and then my thumb kind of ends up right here. So that's kind of where I would want the jimping. And if I go into this kind of grip, my thumb goes right here. So I'm never back here really, unless you hold it all the way back here and you're slicing through a bag or something, sure. But it's more rare than using the Vox style jimping that's further up. Yeah, it's real nice. These are good. I'm happy with these. I just don't love the clip. Not a big fan of that clip that's coming up and around. And that's really it. I love everything else. I love how thin they did the liner. They inset everything. They did a great job on the thickness. The milling is really good. So let me know what you guys think. And I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And I will catch you later.